Warning, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what is going on, my pretty babies? You are checking out an all-new The RCWR show for Wednesday night of April 21st, 2021. What is good? You nice, good, kind people. Love you guys as always. Here we are, Wednesday night, just a couple of minutes removed from an all-new AEW Dynamite on TNT. Pretty solid episode, yeah. Let me know what you guys had thought about Dynamite tonight. I'm definitely curious. Of course, we're going to talk about Tuesday's NXT. I do have a lot to say about that show as well. I'll definitely react to the ratings that's happened for both of those respected shows. We got a little bit of wrestling, little news that we can get into, a little bit of non-wrestling related stuff as well. Appreciate you guys as always. However, you're tuning in live right now as we're streaming on multiple outlets, so shout out to you. Love it as always. I want to try to do a short show. My definition of a short show is if we could maybe do about 90 minutes or just a little bit less. Reason why you guys got to bear with me. I actually took my girl today to go get her first COVID shot. I kind of alluded to that on Monday's RCWR show, as some of you all know that tuned in. And it was weird because where we went, we actually had to go to a hospital. I didn't really realize this until we actually got to the site. And man, I was so anxious. I was so nervous for my girl because, she really was very, she's very... up until she got her first shot, I would honestly say she was vaccine hesitant. And one of the main reasons why she was vaccine hesitant, even though she was hearing how very effective it was and that, everybody's good. Yeah, you might have these little side effects here, but it just comes, it's just the coating that's happening in your body. It's trying to get used to, and all that. Not to bore you guys with all of that medical terminology, mumbo jumbo stuff, but she had a bit of vaccine hesitancy, and I totally understand, where she was coming from and everything. But I think what really had got her, okay, let me go ahead and let me do this. I was among the first in our, immediate family to get it, and then her mom followed. Then her best friend that she's known from elementary school, she ended up getting it. And so seeing everybody get it, and then she's pretty much talking to all of them, a couple of her co-workers, that finally kind of brought her around to go on ahead. Okay, let's get the vaccine and everything. And I kind of told you guys Monday night how I had to go through the tedious process, signing her up basically 3 times to try to get her that first vaccination shot and everything. So we had a game plan laid out for today, and I didn't sleep. I gotta be perfectly honest with you. I did not sleep at all last night. I didn't even sleep a wink because I was so amped up, so anxious, really nervous for her, hoping that everything goes okay and everything, because her whole deal just, that's how some people are, sadly, as far as being vaccine hesitant. I mean, you can't really blame them, especially when just days before you're, okay, I want to do this. I definitely want to do this. Then you hear about what was going on with the J&J. And so now you're kind of thinking about, okay, well, what about this other shit that's out here with the Moderna and the Pfizer? What about these? Trepidations, basically. But I didn't sleep a wink, and I told her, I said, okay, this is the game plan. You drive us, and on the way back, I'll do the driving. And she's like, okay. I don't know how, but it went in one area and out the other for her, as we're on our way, and she totally forgot about the game plan. And I had to remind her, said, honey, the whole point in me being with you is mainly support, but at the same time, also make sure that once you get your vaccine, you don't have to worry about driving yourself home in case you ended up feeling funky or whatever. I'll be behind the wheel. We're good to go and everything. So we get to the hospital, and long story short, they did not allow me and other spouses to tag along with our significant others, even if we were fully vaccinated. They did not, and if that's a capacity thing, okay, cool, totally, I get that. But say that rather than leave us to assume, right? And also, customer service, very key. I'm sure you guys have dealt with a couple of asshole security guards that are a bit power hungry and everything. And not for nothing, but the security guard that they had that was interacting with the people and everything, a very shitty attitude. Kind of one of those power hungry type of attitudes or whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy when it's all said and done. But anyway, so she got her vaccine. And I just waited for her outside, was doing my thing with my tablet, taking it easy and everything. And was able to drive home okay. So, we got back in the house, and I've pretty much, was checking on her, hey, you doing good? You feeling all right? She's like, yeah, I'm pretty good. Arm's stinging a little bit. I'm like, yeah, that's how it starts. That's how it starts. I'm like, I guarantee you before the night is out, it's going to get a little bit worse for you. Just wait and see. I actually ended up napping for a little bit. I want to say I probably slept, if I was lucky, I probably slept about 4 hours. 4 hours total, because I had class this evening, so did my classes and everything. But y'all know, I gotta tell you this before we really dive into the thick of things here. Right before Dynamite came on, I'm looking at her, and I could tell she's putting on the front. She's like, oof. I'm like, what's going on with you? You good? How you feeling? It's like, the arm, it's really starting to hurt. It feels like somebody punched me a couple of times. I'm like, so it's gotten worse? She's like, yeah, it's gotten worse. I said, okay, let me get you some Tylenol. She's like, you sure I can take that? I'm like, yeah, you're good. So give her the Tylenol and everything. And I told her straight up, I said, be prepared. You're probably going to be waking up a couple of times throughout the night. I was like, that pain you're feeling right now is definitely going to amplify. So just FYI. And looks like she's knocked out. Hopefully she'll be able to, all throughout the night. I'd hate for her to have her sleep interrupted, because usually Wednesday nights, well, today she was off because she switched with somebody, but usually Wednesdays and Thursdays, she's doing pretty much a double, as a manager on duty. So, because she's in the healthcare industry herself. So, but it seemed to go okay. But I want to end the show early tonight because somehow between driving us home to now, I've been feeling very funky, and I'm now fully vaccinated. I have been feeling chills all day. I don't know what's going on. I was fine, a couple of days ago, but I don't know, like today I've been feeling extremely cold. It's very weird. Very weird. I feel good in this studio, and I think it's mainly because I have all these lights on and everything. Hey, look, what a monumental day it was yesterday. Very monumental day. I've had quite a few people that have asked me privately. Hell, I even had some people yesterday that were asking me what did I think about the verdict. And unfortunately, I appreciate those that make it be their business to try to check out the multiple shows that I put out there each week. But if you've been checking out the shows just long enough, you don't have to be a long time listener. Hell, you could just be watching the past couple of weeks. You can kind of pick up the trend immediately as far as what you can expect when I'm doing certain things. And I thought it was particularly very, as much as I wanted to talk about it, I actually had got one of the questions was asked to me when we were doing the NWA Power recap. And you know me, usually when I do a specific show and I'm just talking about one topic, I'm not going to go away from that topic, especially if that's the only thing. That would be like if I'm reviewing a new Metallica album, right? Let's say Metallica had dropped a new album yesterday and all I'm doing is reviewing the album and somebody says, "Hey, what did you think about that OJ Simpson verdict?" It's like, you understand? It's like, so wasn't the time, wasn't the place and everything. But as I had said on Tuesday, I said, look, we got the Monday, we got the Wednesday shows, we got our exclusive Patreon shows for stuff like that, stuff that's non-wrestling related, and you really want to pick my brain and everything. Look, I'm not going to be long-winded with this, but to those, and I do want to say this, some people may not care. Some people may be tuning in right now live or will watch this on demand. Ah, man, what's going on? I want my wrestling. What the fuck is this? CNN? It's like, guys, you know how many podcasts are out there and all they talk about is 100% fucking wrestling? There's more to life than fucking pro wrestling. And we gotta sometimes kind of have to take a step back and try to make sense out of all this craziness that's going on in the world and talk about it. Running away from it doesn't do fucking anybody any good, you or me, right? But let me be brief about this. Y'all want to know my thoughts? You asked me in private messages. Some of y'all were very candid with your thoughts and all of that, and I appreciate that. And I'll definitely read you all's thoughts on this week's Wrestling with the Topics. I'm actually going to make that be a free show that you guys will be able to access and download via our Patreon link. Again, it'll be free for everybody. You won't need to sign up or anything. But yesterday, I felt a sense of relief. I was very anxious all day from the moment that I found out that the jury was deliberating and that rumblings were they were going to have a verdict. It's like, I was getting very anxious. And I've documented this just a couple of times that I've been on the air over the years. But I was having shades of the 1992 riots. And that pretty much was a result of what went down with the Rodney King verdict. I pretty much was having flashbacks of that. It's one thing to, and this isn't a knock to anybody. It isn't. So please don't take it that way. But it's one thing to talk about, oh yeah, I remember when the LA riots happened, during that Rodney King verdict. But to actually lived in Los Angeles when that shit was going on. I lived in California. I was not that far away from Los Angeles when the shit went down. And me and my family, I can't tell you how petrified we were. As we were watching, as much. And at that point in time, that's when the court TVs and all that, that's when they really had came to be born, if you know your history and everything. And I remember me and my family, my friends, we were glued to the sets, looking at just all the testimony and everything, the witness statements and all of this. And we're just looking at this pile of information and we're saying to ourselves, man, these officers are guilty. Yeah, fuck yeah, these officers are definitely gonna get theirs. What the hell? And when the verdict was read, and all those goddamn cops walked away, there was outrage. You didn't have to be black. You didn't have to be brown. You didn't have to be a minority. You just knew right from wrong. And when that shit went down initially, it was, whoa, what the fuck? And the outrage that came as a result. Let me tell you something. It was very, very scary living in California when those riots went down. I could remember the state of emergency and the martial law that went into effect for several days. I could remember just me and my family being barricaded in our homes, and we had to make with what we had in the house at the time. And we had to try to stretch it out until, basically we got some type of indication from the news that, it's okay. We can get back out there, at least as far as during the day, maybe you want to, try to go grab some groceries or whatever you want to be pretty much, in, out with your errands or whatever. I mean, it was intense for several days after those riots had went down. It was very intense. I remember in my family, we took turns staying awake because we didn't want anything weird to happen while we were sleeping. Somebody was maybe trying to break into different homes and all that. I could just remember all of us just being on high alert. Even though we had our security systems and all that, it's like it was so bad. I actually remember my mom had a gun. My mom, who never, for guns, she had a gun just in case something weird was going to go down and everything. And normally when daybreak broke, that was your time to pretty much, okay, well, who's open where we can go get some groceries, blah this, blah that. But I just remember when that verdict, particularly when that Rodney King verdict came down on those cops, and it left such an impressionable mark on me. I just remember saying to myself, this is wrong. We have a far way to go as a society, especially when it comes to equal rights, especially when it comes to accountability. And so I was anxious when it came to hearing about this verdict that went down yesterday. And I was preparing myself. I was preparing myself for heartbreak. I made a prediction on Monday. I said conviction, but at the same time, I also had seated in the back of my mind, this is probably going to end in a hung jury. There's probably going to be a mistrial. I'm having those seeds in the back of my mind. And to get the verdict guilty on all 3 counts, it did put a smile to my face. And I appreciate everybody that's jumping out there and everybody that is, celebrating and, some people, they want to dance and, but let me tell you something. It's not justice. It's not justice. Let's stop using the word justice. Okay? Because at the end of the day, George Floyd ain't going to be able to walk through those doors and hug his mom, hug his brother, continuing to work on that relationship with his girlfriend. It doesn't bring a life back when it's all said and done. So I don't look at the verdict that went down Tuesday as justice. That's not justice. What I look at that as is all about accountability. You've listened to the show for a long time. That's something that I always come back to time and time again, just in life in general. Accountability. More specifically, I always say self-accountability. I'm responsible from the moment that I leave out of my home and I'm interacting with, XYZ. I'm responsible for my actions and everything, right? I'm accountable the minute I leave out of my home, just as you are accountable for your actions and everything when you leave out of your door. So it's all about accountability. And I felt what went down here was all about accountability. That's what it was about. Finally, when it counted the most and someone needs to be held accountable for their actions, they were. That's what I look at what went down Tuesday as. It's all about accountability. My thoughts, my prayers, but also hopes for resolution as a society. It's definitely with the family of George Floyd, but also with those that have their own George Floyd story. we still have a long way to go, people. Need y'all to understand that. Need you to realize that. We got a long way to go. I said it once before. I'll say it again. And this ain't long-winded. The only way to change the system, have things be structured the way that, would not necessarily be a utopia, because there is no such thing as a utopia. But the only way we can truly get ourselves in a position where you're looking at things from a judicial system or from a government standpoint, as far as trying to change policies, regulations, and everything, we got to be willing to fully commit to that cause, and we got to be able to go in there from the bottom up. We got to make sure our voices are being heard. We got to go out there and we got to vote. Even in the joints that we feel, I don't really care about that. That normally doesn't apply to me. I normally don't have anything to do with that. Don't matter. You got to get out there. You got to vote. You got to let your voice be heard. You got to continue to do the protests, city halls, be on the front lawns of congressmen, legislators, any government official. That's the only way that we're going to be able to really shake this up. But that's my thoughts. I know you guys have wanted to. That's about as much of a window you're going to get into what's been going on in my head. I have even a lot more to say. Tams definitely has a lot she wants to say with regards to this. So look out for that special episode of Wrestling with the Topics. Again, that's going to be a free-for-all that we're going to have be available for you guys to check out later this week. But those are my thoughts with regards to that. So I want to begin by talking about AEW Dynamite tonight. Now that we've kind of, on a very serious note, let's kind of liven the mood up a little bit. Get you guys hooked up with some of the stuff that you might have missed here. So, Dynamite, this was pretty good. It kind of feels like I haven't watched AEW in eternity. It almost kind of feels like that, because I know we were on vacation last week, so I actually did not get a chance to review last week's Dynamite and everything. And now that I really think about it, I don't think I ever did watch last week's Dynamite. So maybe that's why I kind of felt a little bit like an eternity there. So it was nice to kind of come back to watching Dynamite with a somewhat fresh set of eyeballs and everything. Good opener match. Ricky Starks taking on Hangman Adam Page. First off, look, I love my man Ricky Starks. First came across him NWA. And when I looked at him over there, I said, okay, this guy is definitely going places. I definitely see a bright future ahead for this young man, without a shadow of doubt. And, it's been awesome following his work thus far. But I got to tell you, when I saw Ricky Starks come out tonight, I just couldn't help but shake my head. First of all, put my head down, then shake it a little bit. Because what was going on with the music that they had my man come out to? Marinate on that for a quick tick. Yeah, man, the music that they had him come out to was just, what the fuck? It sounded like porn star music. It sounded like stripper music. I wasn't sure whether to reach into my wallet and just flash a couple of green dollar bills at what it was just, I wasn't feeling it. I was not feeling that music. I wasn't sure exactly how I was supposed to be perceiving Ricky Starks when he came out there. And what's the new name that they gave him? Absolute Ricky Starks. So I'm going, okay, why does that sound like the Absolute vodka joint that's running around? Like Absolute Ricky Starks. What is there a variant of Ricky Starks that's running around? Like why is he calling himself Absolute? What is absolute about Ricky Starks? I need to have that be dissected a little bit more. And here is where the great storytelling can really come into play. There are some really good moments in AEW where they got some, okay, that was a good talking segment. That was a good interview. Okay, that was a nice setup how they did. I need to have that Tony Schiavone or that Jim Ross interview, and we got to dissect that a little bit. What's going on here? Why are you calling yourself absolute? What's absolute? What, are you the absolute best when it comes to in the ring, when it comes to performing? Are you the absolute best? Yeah, probably everything that I just asked right there and answered, that's probably it. But if I'm kind of playing with that whole absolute, what the hell is absolute? Why is he absolute? I would imagine there's definitely other fans that's kind of, what is going on with that? Music's got to change, though. That music has got to change. It just makes him come off a bit cornballish. At least to me, that's definitely how it came off. But you know what? The match between him and Hangman Adam Page tonight, I fucking loved it. It was like 2 stars going out there, and you couldn't ask for a better opener for Dynamite tonight. You just couldn't ask. Damn good. Damn fucking good. One issue that I had with this match, to each its own. I try to highlight this a little bit in the Discord, but, some were kind of, it's okay. He's all right. And I'm just thinking to myself, you see, y'all not, and I really wasn't trying to type up a story. My whole thing was, just give me a mic. Just put a microphone in my hand and just let me do my thing. So we got a spot. Almost comes towards the end of the match here. Ricky Starks, he's taking the lead. He pulls Hangman Adam Page into the ropes. He pretty much tries to Irish whip him into the ropes. Once Page comes off of the ropes, Starks basically gets behind him. He's looking for a sleeper. Page manages to counter. Ends up Irish whipping Starks into the ropes. Page is looking for a clothesline, but Starks is able to counter it, gets behind him. Maybe he's looking for that sleeper hold yet again. Maybe he's looking for a back superplex maneuver or a snapmare. Who knows what he's looking for? But just before he could reapply whatever he was getting ready to reapply or apply, Page counters yet again, and this go round he hurries up, switches bait, and he's behind Starks, and he just does this nasty. It was the most nastiest. You can either call it a snapmare or snapmare suplex. You call it one of those two. But it was so ugly because when you go on social media, I know you're gonna fucking see this. The way Ricky Starks lands. Not only did my man Ricky Starks land on his head, but the way his neck fucking bent. Visually, I must have rewinded it and watched that shit at least 6 times. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing before my eyes there. And what was also so WTF was the fact that Ricky Starks no-sold this motherfucker. He no-sold this motherfucker. And what I mean by that is, as soon as the move was applied, you think that maybe Ricky Starks would just lay there for a little bit, sell the shit, right? Come on, he probably knows that, oh shit, I landed kind of wrong there, and give the referee maybe an opportunity to check in with him, make sure everything's going good and everything. But no, that move was applied, and Ricky Starks just fucking, almost kipped up basically, except it wasn't a kip up. He didn't do the usual traditional kip up that you stay seeing people spam the hell out and everything. But once that move was applied, he just got right the fuck up and was looking on at Hangman Adam Page like, was that the best you got? And for me, when I saw that spot, first off, I couldn't help but say, okay, I'm glad that the young man is all right. I'm sure when he plays that back, he's probably going to say to himself, yeah, that did look pretty bad. I get why people were, okay,
shout out to his work ethic when it comes to him in the gym, because your average guy, I mean, they would not be able to walk away like the way Ricky Starks was able to walk away there. But on the one hand, okay, he's good. He's back on his feet. All right, good. On the other hand, I just couldn't help but be a little bit mad at what I was seeing, because if there was ever a time where there should have been just a brief pause, if you needed to take a commercial break, go ahead and take a commercial break and resume the match in its entirety so fans don't miss it or whatever. But I just wish that we would have had a moment of pause where the officials could have, checked up on Ricky Starks. We could have had one of the AEW doctors come out, give him some tests real quick, make sure everything is good to go. And then, all right, yeah, he's good. Go ahead, let the match continue. I wish it would have played out that way. Why it didn't go down that way, your guess is as good as mine. If I have that much of a keen eye and I'm able to see that, and I'm thinking what I'm thinking as I'm laying it out for you guys, just imagine how many other veteran podcasters like myself are gonna pretty much echo the same thing that I'm echoing, right? So on the one hand, that's going on in my head. And then the other part that's going on in my head is, Ricky, I love you, dude, but you no-sold the fuck out of that move. I mean, that's no fucking different than, if somebody is, I tell you what, that's no different than if somebody is able to apply a Boston Crab on you, or STF, or an ankle lock. And I mean, they are just, they're torquing it. I mean, they hitting that ankle, they hitting that kneecap, they hitting that spine. I mean, they hitting all them points, right? Right? But let's just say, for the sake of the argument, STF, Boston Crab, all right? Or ankle lock, all right? So they homing in on that leg, right? Majority of the match, they are just homing in on that goddamn thing. All right, so what? Like, when you're able to counter one of those moves, all of a sudden you just gonna bounce up on your 2 feet and you pretty much just gonna no-sell that motherfucker? I don't think so. Although we've seen it in a few promotions. We don't need to name names, but we've seen it go down in a few promotions where, okay, this dude didn't sell this. What the fuck? So on the other hand, now I know you guys that's hearing that, you're probably saying to yourselves, Lee, dog, I love you, but you sound like you talking out of both sides of your mouth there. Like what? Hey, multiple things can be true. And everything that I'm telling you right now, it's all very valid points. It's all true. So a lot of mixed emotions when I saw that spot. That's basically the point that I'm making. I'm not really sure how many of you were kind of thinking that same thing and all that. But you know what? When it's all said and done, I'm just glad that Starks is okay. Straight up. I'm glad that he was okay and he was able to continue on in the match and everything. And the commentators, I mean, obviously they're watching on their monitors. They see what the fuck had went down and everything. And, I was ready for them to just fucking go there. Right? I was ready for them to say, okay, and they kind of did. They say, hey, Ricky Starks, he's a hell of an athlete. Only an athlete can be able to, it was kind of nice how they just, they didn't try to put too much emphasis on it. And I would have, if that would have been Excalibur or JR, I would have been in the back feeding them a fucking line. Okay, one of you guys, we got to home in on that next spot there, man. I mean, yeah, he may have been able to kip up there and everything, but seriously, that's adrenaline that's got him going right now. When is that adrenaline gonna wear off? Because at some point it's probably gonna wear off during this match, and is Hangman Adam Page gonna be able to capitalize on it as a result? I would have fed that line to the commentating team, and here's why. Hear me out. Here's why. Because when you look at the end of how Hangman Adam Page won that match, he won that match by submission. And he basically had the neck of Ricky Starks. And I mean, he was cranking that bitch. Okay, so you're going back to that spot earlier. I mean, you had the perfect opportunity to just, okay, well, let's just run with it. Let's combine everything, and just, so it was just totally all poor booking to a certain degree, but then just all of those elements. I mean, when you really just stop and think about it, you go, But a good match, a good opener for Dynamite. Definitely a good opener. Bat Pentagon, that's what I'm calling him tonight, because he literally came out Batman inspired. Had lost to Trent Beretta. A good matchup. That was actually a pretty good matchup there. I enjoyed that one. Nice little classic. Nice good clashing. Nice good meshing of those guys there together. There was a promo with the Pinnacle. Pinnacle was being interviewed by Jim Ross, and they pretty much were reacting to the Immortal promo that JR had dubbed, that Inner Circle had cut on Pinnacle from, what was it, last week or whatnot. And you know, now that I'm actually thinking about it just a tiny bit more, I actually did watch AEW last week. And now that's coming back to me. I actually did watch it. That was pretty good. You know, MJF really shining too, for that matter, showing and shining. For me, he was delivering a bona fide promo tonight. As far as best promos of the night, I definitely, for this week, for AEW, I definitely got to give it up to MJF. I mean, MJF just continues to hit the fucking joints out of the ballpark. My girl doesn't get an opportunity, especially on Wednesday nights, to watch Dynamite with me because she's usually at work. But, you know, tonight was one of those rare nights she's watching it with me. And she remembered seeing a little bit of MJF, because actually she remembers too MJF from MLW. When I was watching MLW regularly, before anybody asks, I got catching up to do with MLW. I'll be nice and caught up by this weekend, and I'll definitely be able to talk about them a lot more next week going forward. But I remember both of us, you know, that's pretty much where we, oh, hey, you know, oh, cool. And when we were watching his spot tonight with Pinnacle, I mean, even she was impressed. You know, even she jumped out there and said, he's pretty good. He's a good talker. Like, yeah, it's like he's damn good. Hasn't even reached his fucking peak yet. I mean, good fucking shit right there. Love that whole joint. Even giving Wardlow a bone there, giving him a little bit of talk time. You know, that was pretty good. You know, so, you know, rest of the guys in Pinnacle, they didn't talk. You know, it was all good. Good shit right there. Next up. Oh, I almost forgot about that too. Post-match, Taz got on the microphone and he was talking trash to Hangman Adam Page. Just to go back to Ricky Starks and Hangman Adam Page one more time for you guys. He was talking a bunch of hot shit to Page, you know, saying, hey, you know, you're lucky, but you got a big target on your back. All of the W's you've been accumulating, you know, you're pretty much like almost right there in line for a next shot at the title. So, my man, you got a big bullseye on your back. You need to watch your back. And, like, seriously, he was telling you watch your back because Taz's son, Hook, had attacked Hangman from behind. And there was a 2-on-1 beatdown, Starks, Hooks on Page. Brian Cage came out. You're kind of looking at that spot and you're putting in the back of your mind, there's been a little bit of what's the right word? There's been a little bit of friction. I think that's the word we need to go with. There's been a bit of friction going on there with Team Taz, and you've kind of seen over the past couple of weeks, Brian Cage has been, you're kind of wondering what's going on with him. You thought that maybe he was going to come out there, try to be the peacemaker or whatever, but no, that wasn't even the case. He actually came out there and was trying to put Hangman Adam Page in a power bomb, but then Dark Order came out. They pretty much were able to save Page's ass. So yeah, good shit right there. Good shit right there. Let's see. Sheeta took on Conti. This was for the AEW Women's title. You know, and I gotta tell you, gotta go back to the Discord. Was gonna try to do Twitter, but apparently, quick sidebar, apparently I am in Twitter detention for the next week. I'm in Twitter detention because I went on the Lincoln Project's timeline, some video that they shared of Tucker Carlson, and I said, boy, I would love to just punch him in the face. And apparently, that tweet that I put out there, I didn't even make it 90 seconds. And all of a sudden, Twitter decided to put me in the penalty box. That's basically what they did. They put me in the penalty box for a week because of that comment. Yeah. I don't know, guys. Twitter just ain't what it used to be, right? It just, I don't know. I'm kind of getting to that point. Like, as it is, I'm already using Twitter just to mainly promote the shows. You know, I try to interact with folks when some of the shows are on. You know, I'll use the hashtag or whatever. Or typically, I'm just commenting in real time on some of the stuff that's playing out on TV. But other than that, I'm not really on the social. I'm not. For me, I'm still old school. Like, if I'm thinking about somebody, you know, a friend or a family member, I like to just pick up the phone and I'm either calling them or I'm sending them a text or I'm hitting them up, Facebook Messenger or some shit like that. I'm kind of old school in that fashion. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think my days with Twitter, I think it might be coming to an end because it's just gotten too over-regulated, all the shit that's going on. Let me know if you've been kind of dealing with the same shit, you know, where your head is at these days when it comes to platforms like Twitter and Instagram and all of that. If your head's in that same space and, you know, how you've been able to try to find that nice balance, if you've been able to find that nice balance, let me know. I'm a little bit curious. But, you know, the Discord, I don't have a problem with the Discord. I love the Discord. I'm always chatting it up with folks in the Discord. When we were seeing this match come about with Sheeta and Conti for the AEW Women's title, you know, one question that kept being brought up was, why is this championship being defended on free TV? Why isn't it being defended on a pay-per-view? You know, why are we just giving this away? And I remember at one point I had said, well, you think maybe it makes a little bit more sense to have the title be defended from time to time, maybe on AEW Dark or Elevation. Obviously, it's not going to be a title change, but just the fact that you have the champion not only make an appearance, but from time to time defend the title on one of those shows, just try to, you know, bring even more eyeballs to the product and everything. And majority of folks, nah, you know, don't give that away for free, even if the champion's gonna retain. Nah, because ultimately you're devaluing that championship. No, makes more sense. No championship should ever be defended on the dark shows, on the YouTube shows. It was like, okay. So then we came back to the question yet again, you know, why is this title being defended on Dynamite? Like, we've already got the TNT championship that pretty much can be defended every single week. So if there is a title that's going to be defended on Dynamite, that needs to be the one and only title. If once in a blue moon, maybe you want to do the tag titles, you know, okay, sure, but really shouldn't be giving away title matches on free TV. Let it be for your pay-per-view. So, you know, honestly, for me, I understood the points that were being made. I do agree with it, but I could see that point and raise, right? And it's like, you're playing a hand of poker. Okay, I'll see you on that, but I'm going to raise you. And where I'm at right now is, okay, well, all that, and I'll raise you. Sheeta's been champion for how long? And how many title defenses has she had? I'm hearing 8 title defenses, and essentially she's pretty much just been defending the title. What is that, like once every, 2 months or some shit like that? She's basically defending the title when you really stop and think about it. I mean, for me personally, when I think about championship runs, especially during this whole pandemic era, as we're pretty much dubbing it, Sheeta has had one of the most lackluster, least impressive title runs in AEW's history so far. So let's make sure we stress that, because they are still a rather young company. They're still rather young. But yeah, it's very unimpressive. It's just, I forget half the damn time that there's AEW Women's Championship. I forget half the damn time who the AEW Women's Champion is. I have to remind myself, oh yeah, it's her. She still has that fucking title, doesn't she? That's kind of where I'm at with that. Tay Conti and Sheeta, great match. Great fucking match between these two girls. I was really, really into this. Other than Hangman Page taking on Ricky Starks, this actually was my second favorite match of the night, besides the main event match. And you heard me right. Besides the main event match, this was another one that was pretty good as well. Sheeta retaining, wasn't surprised by that. Was not surprised by that. All those very valid points that I made earlier. Look, I can even up the ante even more. And the way I can up the ante even more is by saying this. And look, this isn't me hating. I know we get some people, they hear some of the talk about AEW, and, I will give it to you as fair and honest as possible. I don't care who the promotion is. When they doing right, I will give them the praise. When they doing wrong, I'm on that ass. But Sheeta's title reign has been the least impressive thing going on in AEW since that women's title has been activated. That's the God's to honest truth. It's you just, my interest with Sheeta is just, I'm ready to see new blood. And what's very infuriating, and I had brought this up to the folks in the Discord, and they love this idea too. I was saying to them, I said, for the love of me, I just don't understand why we got Sheeta, right? And why aren't we putting her in a position where she's taking on Deonna Purrazzo at the Rebellion pay-per-view? It doesn't have to be Knockout's title on the line against AEW Women's title. Just let it be a non-exhibition joint, AEW's best taking on Impact's best. I mean, after all, you're going to have Rich Swann defending his title against AEW's Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's AEW title is going to be on the line. I'm not saying you got to do title versus title, right? You get it. But it's like, okay, I'm seeing Sheeta, and it's like, when you really stop and think about it too, like, damn, Deonna Purrazzo, Sheeta, yeah, that actually would be a pretty good ass fucking match. Fuck yeah, take my money. I just don't get that. To the point, you look at everything that's been happening with this whole AEW Impact Wrestling partnership, whatever you want to call it, and it's honestly been very misleading. It's been very misleading. It ain't living up to the hype. You see AEW constantly with their little promo spots and all that on Access TV and everything. But when it counts the most, and we've had some months go by now since this partnership has been in effect, and we've yet to see Impact Wrestling truly get that same kind of rub off that they're giving AEW on Access TV. We've yet to see Impact Wrestling be afforded the same luxuries on TNT. And it's just very nerve-wracking. You know, we see all these people that are gushing. They're just gushing themselves over the interviews when, you know, I got to talk to Cody. You know, I got to talk to Brandy. I got to talk to the Young Bucks. You know, and when it counts the most, you know, important questions like that, like, you know, hey, this Impact AEW, like, you know, motherfuckers don't have the balls. They don't have the balls to ask that question. You know why? Because they fear that, oh man, there goes my opportunities to interview future AEW stars. There goes my opportunity to, they want to continue to play footsie. They want to be able to continue to have that hand in the AEW cookie jar. They don't want to rattle the beast. That's what that is. But we know. We got eyes. We see what's going on. And it's just very nerve-wracking. It's like a perfect analogy that I used earlier with this whole AEW Impact thing. Yeah, here's the perfect analogy. Every time I want to eat lunch at school, you, my friend, you're always willing to give me lunch money so I can eat. Yet on those times when you don't have money with you and you're trying to eat lunch, I don't cover you. I mean, when you really think about that analogy, that's literally exactly what's going on with AEW and Impact. Literally, you know, it's like AEW, you know, hey, let us get some camera time and let us do this shit and this shit and this shit and this shit. And Impact is just pretty much just, yeah, come on, you know. And when it's time to, I mean, shit, do I have to be crude? I mean, sexually in the bedroom. Typical man. Come on, man. Let's be honest. I know we got women listeners too. I see the demographics, right? I see those. I see the analytics. So let's be candid here, right? Come on, men. Be honest. Oh, baby, I love it when you. Oh, now give me. Oh yeah, now flip over. Give it. Oh yeah. All four, baby. All four. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah. Right? We get our hookup. We get ours. Then when it's time for her to get hers, you know, some of us, we kind of act like it's a goddamn chore. We really don't want to, you know, hook her up. Or him, whatever your preference is. You know, I gotta make sure I cover the bases with some of you guys, right? Gender neutrality. You get the point. You know, it doesn't feel mutual. You know, it doesn't feel 50-50 with everything that you're seeing right here, which honestly makes this whole AEW Impact partnership or AEW versus Impact, you know, just say a bust when it's all said and done. But yeah, the fact that they didn't even try to go in the direction of Shida, Deonna Purrazzo, non-exhibition. Just leaves you scratching your head. Let's see, what else? What else here? Inner Circle. Oh, by the way, again, Shida retaining her title. However, that Shida title reign, it just might be over, y'all, because out came Britt Baker post-match, and she had pointed to the Tron to show the newest rankings for the women there. That's pretty much close to challenging Shida. And with the defeat that Conti took, the updated bracket, Britt Baker's now the number one contender. So Britt Baker has been that hot-ass steady hand, gotten better and better. I mean, she is white fucking hot right now. I personally feel You got to capitalize on that woman. You've got to. Now that she's pretty much been able to string everything together, now is the time you pull that trigger and you just run with that fucking woman. You already pretty much got a super baby face that's over in Thunder Rosa that you could eventually come back full circle but we'll see how that plays out. Tony Schiavone interviewed Inner Circle. We got this was really weird. Apparently there's going to be a parlay next week on AEW between Inner Circle and Pinnacle, where basically they're going to be laying down the ground rules for the ultimate battle that they're going to be having May 4th. Blood and Guts. I'm with you guys. Parlay? Like what? I know about a buffet. I know about a parfait. I don't know about no parlay. Me no speak parlay. Sorry, I just don't. Me no speak parlay. Let's see. What else? Billy Gunn took on QT Marshall. I walked the dog at this point. Moxley. Kingston. They showed up in a fucking truck. And they were trying to sabotage the hell out of the Elite's, I guess their tour bus or whatever. The Elite was trying to cut a little promo. They were trying to talk trash about Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And they kept hearing noises. It was honking noises. And they were trying to see what the hell was going on. Next thing you know, we see Moxley and Kingston. They're driving in this truck. And they just rammed this truck into the back of the Elite's, I don't know, trailer home unit or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But what was so weird was after Moxley and Kingston got out of their truck, they go inside. They're trying to look for the guys. The guys are nowhere to be found. So you're kind of wondering, because we never see the Elite ever again. You're kind of wondering to yourself, what was going on with the Elite? Where did they go? Did they all run out of there? Were they actually in there and they all managed to get out of there in time? Or were they actually somewhere else? A little confused here. It was very, very confusing. I mean, that was just, yeah, very, very head scratching right there. Powerhouse Hobbs took on Christian. Good match. Didn't care for the finish. The finish actually pissed me off. And I'm explaining to you the reason why. We kept hearing Team Taz banned from ringside. Team Taz banned from ringside. Yet Taz is on commentary. So when I hear Team Taz is banned from ringside, I'm assuming that also means Taz is banned from ringside. But that doesn't stop Taz from grabbing a microphone and talking shit to Christian, right? After all, Taz did have a microphone, earlier in the night, and he was talking mad shit to Hangman Adam Page, right? So, for me, this was just, I did not enjoy seeing Hobbs lose cleanly to Christian in the middle of the ring. With no fuckery, I didn't care for that. I didn't care for that. Now look, on the one hand, I can look at it from the Hobbs perspective as far as the booking and go, okay, you know what? He got to work with one of the best and a guy like Christian. Test himself, see where he is there, areas where he might need to improve and all of that. But I mean, Hobbs held himself pretty damn good against Christian. But I'm looking at Hobbs. I'm looking at Christian. I'm looking at Hobbs. I'm looking at Christian. Again, I'm looking at Hobbs. I'm looking at Christian. I'm going, okay, let me be a guy in my mid-late 40s, pushing 50, and I'm taking on this cockstrong Brock Lesnar, Big E, Farouk looking dude, that's kind of young. What is he, like early mid-30s? Yeah, and I beat his ass. Yeah, that's the main thing. And I beat his ass. I just did not like that whatsoever. It just rubbed me the wrong way. I thought for sure the way the match was going to end was Hobbs was just going to be so high-headed that maybe he was going to take a foreign object and he pretty much was going to fuck up Christian that way, and Christian wins via DQ. I was maybe hoping for something like that to happen, but to just see it be a clean, oof, definitely rubbed me the wrong way. Wasn't feeling that. We got a main event match of the evening. Darby Allin defending the TNT Championship. Darby Allin in action, defending the TNT Championship against Jungle Boy. Hey, let's talk about that match in a hot second. You guys good? You guys been enjoying the show so far? If you have, please do me a huge favor. Don't cost you a thing. It's actually free to do. Make sure you jump out there and you hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and click on that bell notification. When you do those three things, you definitely showing the ultimate support. You definitely want to make sure you're hitting that like button, because when you do that like, you're pretty much letting other people be able to discover the content. You know, it helps, grow our base, That way we can have more of a cool, bigger family and everything over here, yeah? And when you click on that bell, make sure you select all notifications. I see some of you guys from time to time say to me, I didn't know you were live. Hey, I missed this. Hey, I missed that. It's like, make sure you got the notification set to all, and you guys will be all right. Give me 1 second here. I've got a skipped frame notification here. All right, now we're in the clear. Let me know if you guys are experiencing any lag issues, if the audio is coming in and out, maybe kind of out of sync. I can actually close a couple of windows here. And let me just make sure I don't have any other programs going here. Bear with me a quick second here. Yeah, you know what? This might be the source. Let me do this real quick. Bear with me here. I'm just closing something out to try to see if maybe that'll help. And that might help. But yeah, if you guys are noticing anything weird, let me know. If everything, yeah, whatever I just did there, now I am back up to full green bars here. So we should be good to go from here on out. But if you guys are noticing any lag issues or whatever, let me know. And I can actually do a little something here at my end. All right, so main event match of the evening, Darby Allin taking on Jungle Boy. This was actually my third favorite match of the evening between these guys. Loved it. I actually had loved this one. Pretty damn good. Told a really good story as Allin was trying to defend the title. I love that there was a little bit of slight desperation, so to speak, on the side of Darby Allin. Okay, Darby, you've got this TNT championship. How far are you willing to go? To what levels are you willing to go to in order to retain this title? I had liked that story of desperation to retain that was playing out and everything. I also love the fact that it was a match that didn't end in any controversy. It was a good, clean finish to this one. Although there's almost a slight path kind of open there where, maybe we might eventually see a heel Jungle Boy. It's very possible. Maybe we may see a heel Jurassic Express there. And the only reason why I kind of allude to that is because I remember at one point during the match, Luchasaurus, he was trying to do his best to help Jungle Boy get back in the ring. He was trying not to be physical with Jungle Boy as far as, helping him, but he was definitely doing just enough that it caught the attention of the Icon Sting. And Sting didn't think too kindly of that, and he actually got in the face of Luchasaurus, and they pretty much were doing it wasn't really a brawl. They pretty much just danced their way to the back of the goddamn to the backstage area. I mean, that's pretty much what they were doing with each other. But no, it was a good match between Luchasaurus. I said Luchasaurus, forgive me there. It's a good match between Jungle Boy and Darby Allin. Darby Allin retaining the TNT championship there. You know, good successful title defense there. I also love the fact that post-match is where things really had got interesting, because post-match, I'm trying to think what had happened post-match there. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, they came out and they were beating the holy crap out of Allin. Remember, over the course of the past couple of weeks, we've seen Page, Sky, you know, they've been watching all the stuff going on with Darby and Sting and having a couple chuckles at their expense and everything. Well, now they made their presence felt and everything. Lance Archer, of all people, came in for the save, got beaten down a little bit, but then Sting comes out. He's got the bat in his hand, and yeah, you know, nothing is more intimidating than when you see your senior citizen neighbor with a baseball bat come out just gingerly walking down the driveway, pointing it at you as you're trying to casually get into your car to drive off and go to work. Yeah, one of those kind of days. So the show ends with Sting in the ring with Lance Archer, Darby Allin, and you're just looking at this and you're going, wait, how does this make any sense? This comes off so bipolar to a certain degree, because Lance Archer seemed as though he had a hard-on for Sting. Lance Archer seemed as though he really wanted to chew him out some Sting. And now he's come to the aid of Sting. I don't quite... Now, see, the way that this can totally be justified for me is if Lance Archer cuts a promo next week and says, yo, let's make sure that we all are on the same page. I don't like you. I don't like your little boyfriend, Darby Allin, either. But know this. What I did wasn't done out of wanting your friendship. It wasn't done out of respect. No. I did what I did because I want to do my best to preserve you. Because I, and I alone, want the right to face you in the ring. I want to mop the floor with you. So unless that's maybe why he did what he did tonight by essentially coming to the aid of Darby Allin, I mean, if that's not the direction that we're going in, your guess is as good as mine. That just continues to leave me scratching my head wondering what exactly is up. But yeah, that's pretty much where I am on that one. How are we doing on Showtime, by the way? Let me see how we're doing. I'm actually feeling pretty good, a little bit better, so we can actually go a little longer. Let's see here. We're at about an hour, 9-minute mark. Yeah, it's not going to be a 2-hour show, but let's keep going. I'm feeling a little better. I'm just glad I didn't take any sleep aid yet. All right, let's talk NXT next here. We got NXT on the card here. First of all, I saw how NXT had did from this past Tuesday. Pretty good. They did 841,000 viewers. That's good for this past Tuesday. The week prior, they did 805. First NXT, new time slot of Tuesday. That's pretty good. This week, NXT, in regards to the 18 to 49 demo, they did a 0.23. As far as spot for cable TV, this week they did number 27. Last week they were in the 8th spot. So, I mean, look, they got that growth. That's good to hear that NXT is in the 800s for 2 consecutive weeks there. That's pretty good. I'm very happy to hear that. And then AEW, they had got, what was it, 1.2 million for last week's episode. I didn't get a chance to talk about that because we were on vacation. Congrats to AEW for that. I would imagine a large bit of help for that number came from those that had watched Jericho appear on Broken Skull Sessions. I mean, you would just like to believe that Broken Skull Sessions definitely played a major role. WrestleMania weekend 2, when you did that. As a matter of fact, if you guys can indulge me, I actually remember hearing some type of news about the rating for Broken Skull Sessions with Jericho, because I think it was kind of one of those times. Normally, you don't hear WWE mention numbers for Broken Skull Sessions or other stuff on the WWE network, but I remember seeing something about some numbers. I know for sure with regards to the Stone Cold biography, you had over 1 million people that actually had tuned in, and they had watched that. So, you hear that, you're like, whoa. Yeah, like I don't know if you guys had actually heard about that, but the official number for the Steve Austin special over the weekend that we had talked about on Monday, it debuted at number 6 in the ratings for Sunday night. It had drew a 1.062 million viewers, finished with a 0.38 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. So, I mean, that's pretty good. And you're airing from that 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. block. That's actually pretty damn good. Meanwhile, WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, that one had an overnight audience of 766,000 viewers. Finished with a 0.29 rating in the key demo. And it was number 11 in the ratings for the evening. So, I mean, pretty good. That's pretty damn good. Let's see if they can keep that consistency going. That's the key. One thing that I do want to say that I didn't touch upon with regards to the A&E content from the weekend, because I talked about the shows on Monday. You can't help but say, if you are the WWE, what great timing this is that we're able to have this partnership with A&E, essentially with Discovery. Because remember, and there might be those of you that actually don't remember because maybe you never watched any of the shows, but remember, A&E was a completely different beast just months prior, like before the pandemic. You guys remember? Me, a couple of my other friends in the podcasting world, we raved over A&E. Remember why? Because we was always talking about Live PD. Remember that? Live PD. It started off just once a week. Then they put in, remember? You had Live PD. Then you had Live PD Most Wanted. Tom Morris Jr. was pretty much doing his own version of America's Most Wanted, so to speak there. Criminal, fugitives or whatever that needed to be caught. Crimes that had occurred and, police, neighborhood, community that needed help and all that, basically. Then you had the joint with Sean Sticks Larkin. I can't think of the one that he was on. I want to say maybe Live PD, First Responders or something like that. And then there was a Live PD with Sean Sticks Larkin where he was talking to officers and those in the military that had ink. Remember that? There's actually like a Live PD tattoo edition or whatever. So, I mean, they had all kinds of police programming that was on A&E. I mean, every single day of the fucking week in that prime time 8 to 11 o'clock time slot, you were always able to find new content on. Always something on. If they weren't doing that, they were doing Hoarders. So it was either one or the other, but I mean, A&E was a completely different network before the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, more specifically, Black Lives Matter, George Floyd. I mean, once all that shit had went down, that A&E network, they just were never the same. They just were never the same. You know, it was kind of one of those deals. It was kind of one of those deals where you go, after the death of George Floyd, it was like, yeah, Live PD, what? Who? Yeah. So the fact that WWE was able to go in there and work out this relationship with Discovery, and, you know, they got some programming there on A&E, if they're able, mark my words, and I feel it's going to happen, so prepare yourselves. If WWE can continue to have these types of impressive numbers for their biography and their most treasures, whatever the fuck, hidden treasures, whatever the fuck they're calling that show. It's not even hidden treasures when you think about it. And it's not even most wanted treasures when you think about it. Because when you think about the synopsis for it, it's one thing if you go, oh man, we lost this shit. We don't know where to find it, and we're on the hunt. You know, we got like some of these leads, but man, there's no telling how old these leads are. These could be a lot of dead ends, you know, blah this, blah that. It's like, now when you really stop and think about it, we're looking for the t-shirt that Jerry Lawler had his heart attack in. Oh, that's with Saul. Saul's down in New Jersey. He works at a deli shop. How'd he get the shirt? I don't know, but yeah, he's the one that got it. He got it from eBay. Well, who the fuck sold it on it? You know, but it's still a good show. I mean, I must admit, it's still a good show. But if they can continue to keep numbers up like what they did over the weekend, I guarantee you that portfolio is going to extend even further as far as WWE content on A&E. So mark my words, look out for that. Don't be too surprised if you see some different stuff happen with that. Let's see what else we got here. So we were getting ready to talk NXT. Oh, I will give you a ratings prediction for AEW. I will give you a ratings prediction. I'm thinking AEW this week is probably gonna do. They got 1.2 million, right? About 1.2 million from last week. I don't see another million. I don't see that. But anything less than 900,000 would definitely be a disappointment. You got Wednesdays all to yourself now. You should be able to command. Let me set the bar a little low. You should be able to command 962,000. That's the official number I'm going with. So you can write that down. Put the timestamp on it. 962,000. And I'm writing that down myself for this week's AEW. All right, let's talk NXT. NXT for this week, pretty decent show. First off, the new theme that NXT is running with, new video intro graphic and all of that, the song Say Cheese by Poppy. Look, man, I've never been a Poppy fan. Never been a Poppy fan. Nice beats from what I can kind of hear. It's not really beats, but as far as the instrumentals goes, it's pretty good. But other than that, I don't care for Poppy. Now, just because I don't care for Poppy doesn't make me a bad guy. Doesn't mean that I think her music is shit or anything like that. I'm just simply saying, and I'm look, as far as me and music goes, I'm very universal, right? So it's not like, oh, you just can't. It's like, in that kind of realm, if you want to call it that realm, I fuck with bands like Kitty, Blonde Redhead, I like my Cranberries, I got my favorites, but I just can't get into that. So for me, I didn't care for the new theme. That's just me. But hey, to everybody else that fucked with it, cool. I'm sure you guys are psyched like a mofo. NXT kicking off with Cameron Grimes and Kylie O'Reilly. First of all, I didn't like seeing Kylie O'Reilly coming out there looking like a poor man's version of Orange Cassidy. That for me was just, I had to do a double take. I'm like, wait, who is this that's coming out? So let me see if I got this straight. So officially, we're now building up Kylie O'Reilly. That's what this is all about. We're building up Kylie O'Reilly. I don't know how to feel about that. You know, no disrespect to the young man. No disrespect to him whatsoever. But I just couldn't help but just, wow, NXT, Triple H and them, they got some serious balls. So we're opening things up with Kylie O'Reilly. We're not opening things up with Karrion Kross. Or we're not opening up with, you know, a really strong first match. You know, and then maybe we can go into Kylie O'Reilly. No, we're literally going with Kylie O'Reilly. I was zoning out on this promo. I got to be honest with you. I was zoning out on this promo. The whole Orange Cassidy thing, that was buzzkill. And then getting on the microphone, cutting his little promo, I just wasn't there. If you ask me what were some of the issues I was having with his promo, I'll be real with you guys. As a fan, it's so weird because I remember watching him and Bobby Fish in Ring of Honor, and I can tell you for as long as I was watching those guys, as far as the whole promo thing and all that, I didn't look towards them for the promo stuff. I just pretty much looked towards them to get in that ring and kick mega fucking ass. That's what it was all about in the ROH days. So, you know, now all of a sudden I'm supposed to sit there for 7 minutes, 10 minutes, while Kylie O'Reilly cuts me his best monologue. There's a little bit of potential, but we got to keep chipping away at it. That's my whole point. We got to keep chipping away at it. And then we have Cameron Grimes come out. Look, I love Cameron Grimes. I love what's been going on with this new gimmick he's been doing and all that. I love it. But, man, really, this is how we're opening up NXT. Cameron Grimes, Kylie O'Reilly. And then we find out essentially the main event is Kylie O'Reilly, Cameron Grimes. My first question, who the fuck does Cameron Grimes have dirt on? Seriously, because, you know, like, did he catch somebody with their pants down, not having sex with someone named, I don't know, insert whatever name, like what's going on here? Who he got dirt on? Cause man, talk about being very kind to you. I'm going to come back to that main event match. As a matter of fact, you know what? We can go there now. We can talk about that main event match now. And the way that main event match had came about, that it was just kind of silly. So silly, I don't even want to think about it. Let's just keep going. So, main event, Kylie O'Reilly, Cameron Grimes. Great match. Great fucking match. Never had an issue with these two men on paper as far as having a match. But, one caveat. Why are we doing a 15-minute match, so to speak, and we're essentially trying to say Cameron Grimes is at the level of Kylie O'Reilly? Wait a minute. Let me see if I got this straight. Kylie O'Reilly, who went through hell and back at Stand and Deliver, classic matchup with Adam Cole. And essentially 2 weeks later, we've got him in a main event against Cameron Grimes. And I understand we're not going to do a squash match with Cameron Grimes, but we're really going to go about 20 minutes with Cameron Grimes taking on Kylie O'Reilly. You see the the problem in that logic, folks? You see the problem with that? So if Kylie O'Reilly has that much of a hard time trying to get past somebody like a Cameron Grimes, just the way the Cameron Grimes character has been built up so far, then Kylie O'Reilly should have the same type of problems dealing with a Leon Ruff or a I keep wanting to call my man Pablo Escobar. I'm sorry, guys. Santos Escobar. You understand where I'm coming from? So for me, that was just whoa, let's pump the brakes. You know, that it just seemed so forced what they were doing with Cameron Grimes there tonight. It seemed very, very forced. It's like, I understand you trying to elevate Kylie O'Reilly, but really? 15, 20 minutes against Cameron Grimes. I was hoping that maybe there was going to be some type of controversy. I was hoping that Cameron Grimes would use, shenanigans, dirty tactics, just the whole 9 yards. And for the little bit that I saw, I really didn't see any of those elements. I was hoping maybe somebody would interfere. Didn't even get to see that. NXT just ending with Kylie O'Reilly after 15 plus minutes picking up the dub on Cameron Grimes, and it just goes off like that. I just couldn't help but go, I'm supposed to be impressed with that? Here's a guy. Think about this in storyline. Think about this. You got a guy in Kylie O'Reilly that pretty much says, now that Adam Cole is in my rearview mirror, now I'm going to take a step back and really set my eyes on the biggest prize that's in NXT. Okay. He's going after the NXT World Championship. Okay. All right, cool. You bump into Karrion Kross backstage. No words. Y'all just look at each other. There's that little nod like, I heard you. I know you did. And I'm coming for you. All right, well, I'm right here. It's kind of like one of those type of silent acknowledgments. And if you're Kylie O'Reilly in storyline, I'm going to show you. You just watch what I do. I'm going to show you. You going to show me? I'm going to show you. Just think about that for a second. We're walking down the street, man. You like, man, I'm spoiling for a fight. Oh, yeah, man, I'm spoiling for a fight. Oh, yeah, you spoiling for, I'm spoiling for a fight. Man, I'm ready to whoop a motherfucker's ass, man. I'm ready to get down. I'm ready to go 12 rounds with a motherfucker, man. It could be for a championship. I'm ready to whoop somebody's ass. Like, yeah, I hear you. You amped up today. I'm amped up, man. I'm going to whoop somebody's ass. All right, I bet. Do it. Handle your biz. First motherfucker you come across is, 310, weigh 90 pounds. Wouldn't hurt a fly, right? So in the case of Kylie O'Reilly, it's like, he's talking a good game, right? You really showed us. Cameron Grimes, wow. In storyline, again, just think about that. It's like, I didn't like that. I just didn't like how that all was played out, especially given the fact that the way it ended. I mean, shit, at least have Karrion Kross, no music, no nothing. At least just have Karrion Kross just out there looking at him. You could even have Karrion have this smug look on his face and kind of laugh to himself. And as you're getting ready to fade to black, have the commentators ask the question, do you think that probably was enough for Karrion Kross to even consider accepting Kylie O'Reilly's challenge? We'll have to find out next week. Some shit like that. Very non-anticlimactic what went down tonight. Yeah, very disappointed there. Let's see. Backstage footage was shown from earlier in the day as William Regal welcomed Saray. Zoe Starks welcomed her as well and wanted to know if she could have the opportunity to face Saray one-on-one. William Regal agreed to it. First matchup of the evening, LA Knight. LA Knight taking on Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis losing to LA Knight, courtesy of Indy Hartwell, as Indy Hartwell had appeared at one point during this match. She was in the crowd section. Dexter Lumis was very distracted by her and her beauty. She is a beautiful woman, isn't she? And looked like they were maybe getting ready to have an intimate moment. LA Knight attacked Dexter from behind. LA was talking mad shit to Indy, wondering what the hell she sees in Dexter. This gave Dexter enough of an opportunity to recover, look for a high-risk, high-reward maneuver over the ropes. A little bit later on, Dexter still been infatuated with Indy. I believe Indy at this point, I believe she was at ringside. Something weird had went down, but LA Knight was able to capitalize. LA Knight officially here picking up his first dub in NXT since he's been part of that roster. Post-match, Indy Hartwell and Dexter had a nice quiet moment. Looked as though they were getting ready to kiss when The Way came out, grabbed her, and they just dragged her ass to the back. You know, here's where things get really interesting here when it comes to Indy Hartwell, because when you're really looking at this, you can't help but ask yourself, man, just how infatuated has Indy Hartwell become with Dexter Lumis? You know, it's almost borderline crazy. You know, it's you know, it's so much more than that hit song from back in the day. It's just a little crush. You know, y'all know that song I'm talking about. I don't know the rest of the lyrics. Used to, but been so long, yeah. But it's more than a crush, you know. It really comes off as an obsession, so to speak, that's going on with Indy Hartwell here. And you just can't help but kind of wonder, just how deep are we going to take this with Indy and Dexter? Because who exactly is the crazy one here? That's literally the question you have to ask yourself when you're seeing this play out the way it's been playing out these past couple of weeks. Who exactly is the crazy one here? And could messing around with Indy Hartwell, could it ultimately come back to haunt and bite Dexter Lumis? You really can't help but wonder that, you know. But I like what's going on. You know, I'm very intrigued by this story arc. It's got so, just from a psychological standpoint, as far as NXT and like most psychological, that for me, what's been going on with them, I'm very, very into that shit. It also has a little touch of the whole AJ Lee there. I don't know if you guys are picking up that vibe as well, but it's also got that nice little touch to it. I'm digging it. Leon Ruff cut a promo. Hey man, our boy got too far pushed to the edge. He's trying not to lose his hit. All right. So he pretty much cut a promo on Swerve Scott. You know, saying, man, you pushed me too far. Did you honestly think you're going to be able to jump me like you did a couple of weeks ago and there was going to be a receipt for that? It's like, nah, man. It's like, I'm still here. You know, now it's on you. You make your move. I'm right here. We going to settle this. That pretty much was the end of that. Beth Phoenix had a interview with Io Shirai. Talked about when she won the title, the NXT Women's title at In Your House. Biggest night of her life, biggest night of her career. Talked about being the best wrestler in the world. Then, of course, fast forwarding to NXT TakeOver's Stand and Deliver, taking on, losing to Gonzalez, losing that title. 300 plus title reign now coming to an end. Well, you just lost the NXT Women's Championship. What are you going to do next? I'm going to take my ass home and I'm going to rest my weary bones. Bitch! No, literally, that's what Io Shirai said. She said, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna rest up. I've been at it. I've been grinding, all these months. Like you said, 300 plus days as NXT Women's Champion. I got to refocus, rebuild. But when I come back, I'm looking to reclaim that championship. But then, Taya Valkyrie, now known as Frankie Monet. Frankie Monet. It's like, I just don't, when I look at Taya Valkyrie, I don't look at her and go, Frankie Monet. I don't, Frankie Monet. Like, I don't. Who names their daughter Frankie? Please don't answer that question, especially if you're that girl named Frankie. Please. I nothing but love for you, honey. But yeah, hey, can we talk about the real MVP of this whole segment? The dog! The dog is the real MVP. That dog has made more appearances in 2021 than Aleister Black, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar combined. Marinate on that. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. I love that little dog, man. Seriously, I love that little dog. That dog is so fucking cute, man. I just want to grab that little dog and just, I just want to grab that dog, man. It reminds me of my own little furry daughter, man. So Frankie Monet pops up with her dog, and I love how she just pretty much plopped the dog on the table, because like you're seeing this great interview and everything between Shirai and Beth, and all of a sudden this dog just plop on the table. I mean, just out of nowhere, and the dog's just kind of like, "Hey, what's up?" And Tyler Valkyrie just crashes the scene and talks about how, "Oh well, hey Io. Hey, since you're gonna be leaving for a little bit, maybe I can continue to keep that seat of yours warm by, being the next hottest woman here in NXT. Being where the real action is and everything." And Shirai didn't take too kindly of that. Taya Valkyrie also took. You guys got to forgive me. Frankie Monet. I prefer Taya, goddammit. She also took a nice little knock at Beth Phoenix, saying, "Beth Phoenix, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. Oh my God, I grew up on you and your work. I'm such a big fan." And you got Beth Phoenix, she's smiling and looking humbled, but then she stops and thinks about it. It's like, wait a minute, what did this heifer just say to me? So I like that whole exchange and everything. Segment pretty much ends with Io Shirai talking in Japanese. And as she's talking in Japanese, she just keeps looking at the dog. And that's why when you look at the show thumbnail, that's why you see that one thumbnail I got there of her and the dog. Because, I mean, she was just making these funny ass faces when she's looking at the dog. And you got the dog at one point, he's yawning, like, "Okay, this was fun. Now I'm ready to go play with my toys. Come on, mommy, let's go." He kind of has that kind of look on his face or whatever. But then there's like this other face where Io Shirai is like literally looking at him and saying to him, you're going to be for dinner. It's kind of like one of those. It's kind of like one of those type of deals. And the only thing Io says is, after she's done talking in her language, her native language, she says to Monet, "I don't even like dogs," and she walks away. And you're like, oh shit. So that was pretty good. That was actually pretty good. I love that. I can't wait to see these two girls go at it. Actually should be a pretty good matchup. Looking forward to that. But that dog, I'm serious. Think about that. That dog, man, that's the real MVP. Aleister Black, Ricochet, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, John Cena. That dog has made more appearances than any of those guys combined in 2021. Y'all marinate on that now. That dog's undefeated right now, yo. Wonder if he's got a contract. Let's see. What else had happened? Oh, so we did get that match between Sarray and Zoe Stark. I love the fact that Saray and Zoe, they both in this match came off very formidable. They came off as very strong, formidable opponents. I enjoyed that. Right down to the point, they complemented each other's styles very well. They meshed very well together. I ultimately would not mind seeing them as a tag team. I would not mind seeing them as a tag team, and maybe ultimately Zoe Starks turns on Saray. I know under the right story arc, I could actually see something like that playing out. You kind of have to wait and see if that's maybe how things are gonna kind of end up being. But you know what? Look, Zoe, to her credit, she's been doing a phenomenal job with the opportunities that has been afforded to her. Right? I mean, she's been going out there. I know for some people, there, you'd be surprised. There's actually some people that are very, very cold on Zoe. Their whole thing is, she's getting TV time. She's getting a little match here and there. But, for some, hey, look, verdict for me on her, it's still out. And then you got some that just, homegirl hasn't even clocked in 90 days. As far as 90 days worth of footage for you to really, and they're already just, verdict's in, yeah, she's out. And it's like, nah, give it time. Like, I like the way that they have been going about not only introducing Zoe to the WWE universe and everything, but they've been putting her in these great opportunities where even though she's been at the end of defeat, when you just think about, the character development and, okay, all right, we got that done. Now, let's keep going here. Let's build off of that. She's definitely, the portfolio's building up slowly but surely and everything. Just because you're on TV doesn't always mean you have to be winning matches every single time. You feel where I'm coming from? So I like what's been going on with her. And I tell you what, if it was fans in full effect right now, I bet you she would be getting not a superstar reaction, but I guarantee out of 100%, the crowd reaction for her right about now, it would probably be about 65%. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good when you think about it. So I honestly feel that, she doesn't really have much that's going on right now. So, and that's the best thing that I really love about Zoe. You can pretty much just take Zoe, insert her wherever you need to insert her, plug and play wherever you need. To my point, that was actually the best match of the night as far as I'm concerned. My number two would be, let me look at this card. My number two would actually be Oni Lorcan and Kushida. I'll get to that in a hot second. My honorable mention will be Kylie O'Reilly and Cameron Grimes. But y'all know why I kind of am giving it an honorable mention. If it wasn't for that, then I would actually flip it. I would actually have that at number two and, have that ladder really come in at last place there. But to my point about the whole plug and play, I love the fact that post-match, because I thought for sure we were going to see Zoe Stark be a bitter loser. I was ready to see Zoe beat down Saray. I was ready for it. I was anticipating it. But because you could see at some points during the match, Zoe was kind of unraveling a little bit, becoming a little bit frustrated and all that. So you're like, this may come back bite her in the ass. Let's see how this plays out. But Zoe didn't turn on her, even in post-match. She didn't turn on her. If anything, post-match, they embraced, were celebrating with one another, and Zoe Starks rolls out of the ring, tries to give Saray her opportunity and everything, because this was her in-ring debut and everything. Wham! Tony Storm just out of nowhere attacks Zoe Stark, lays her out. By the time Saray kind of figures out what the hell's going on, she comes to the scene, tries to come to the aid of Zoe. Toni Storm is just looking on at the damage that she did. Her and Saray make eye contact. Toni Storm likes what she did there, and she just gingerly walks off. Look, I gotta be honest with you guys. Now that I've had a nice, good portion, nice meaty portion of Toni Storm, I gotta put this on you guys. And I'm not being funny, not being cute when I ask this question. I legit want to know. I want to know. What's the deal with Toni Storm? And when I say what is the deal with Toni Storm, why is Toni Storm so popular? What is it about Toni Storm that makes her so? Because look, as a man, I'll be honest. She is attractive. She is attractive. Nice looking face. Nice hips, nice thighs. Yes, you all, I see what's going on with the rear end. But real talk, besides all that, seriously, like, why do you guys putting all that to the side, why do some of you guys like Toni Storm? Because what I'm seeing as far as a in-ring persona goes, I'm not really seeing anything. It's almost like kind of like a blank piece of paper almost. I'm not really getting anything. Nothing on my gauge is as far as a personality goes. Now, I'm not saying she's boring, but at the same time, like, what's going on there? I've now gotten myself a nice hefty portion of her promo when she's on the mic. Nothing for me that's desirable. Nothing for me that's, there's tons of other women that I can think of that, no, you know what, I'm good with them on the mic before I would go with a Toni Storm. So I'm just trying to understand what is making her so popular and all that, because I'm just not seeing it translate. I would imagine that over in UK and for NXT UK, I would imagine it was Bizarro World and it was completely different for her over there, but I'm just not really seeing it. Anytime I'm in a position where I pretty much go, oh, so wait a minute, the role of the bad guy in this one and ultimately taking on Saray, oh, so that's going to go to this person instead. But wait a minute, this person over here has already shown me that they can do what pretty much this person over here is really lacking in. That's the point that I'm making. So very, very interesting. Let's see. Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, they were backstage talking with Mackenzie. They were addressing Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez, remember, she wants a shot at Gonzalez there. Remember, she also put a challenge last week. She also put a challenge out there to Gonzalez, and pretty much this really wasn't even acknowledged. Very overlooked in storyline purposely, because you had Raquel Gonzalez who said to Mackenzie, look, to Mercedes Martinez, to any of the women on the NXT roster, they want a shot at me, they want a shot at the title, line them up, I'm going to knock them all down. So that's pretty much how that went. Mercedes Martinez, though, she pretty much came back later on in the night in her own little backstage promo spot. Nobody was interviewing her. She just, seemed like we were getting ready to visit the set of MTV's 120 or VH1 Classics. VH1 Classics. Oh, what's that show? Rock Show with fucking Kane. It kind of seemed like it was one of those type of joints where we're going underground to some dark steel cage barbed wire area, and there's fucking Mercedes Martinez, greeting us and all that, and she's pretty much putting the spot out there for Raquel Gonzalez to put her money where her mouth is. And let's do this. Let's fucking fight. Weird fucking camera. And that was another problem that I had going back to the interview that was going on between Io Shirai, Beth Phoenix. I saw this on full display with the Mercedes Martinez spot. The way they just kept doing the shit with the cameras. It's like, stop switching fucking cameras. Just stay with one. We're good. We don't need you to show the back of their head. Show the side. Now go to the front. Now go back to the back of the head. Now go to the side. Go back to the front. Go to the left side of the face. Now go to the right side of the face. Now go back to the front. Now do an overhead. But now let's go to the back of the head. Now let's come back. We don't need to keep, like, just stop. Stop. Make a brother nauseous, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You don't believe me. You think I'm exaggerating. Go back. Especially for those of you that maybe even haven't watched NXT yet. Go back and look at that shit. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Backstage segment. Indy Hartwell and Lacey Evans. We're trying to get on the same page, as Indy wanted to have some words with Amber Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Indy Hartwell, however, she had different plans. I don't know where she disappeared to. It kind of seemed as though maybe she was looking for some Dexter Lumis in the locker room or whatever. Your guess is as good as mine. But she left her girl, Lacey, high and dry, as Lacey went to talk mad shit to Amber Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. And that pretty much got her ass whooping in the locker room behind closed doors. So that was kind of hilarious. NXT Cruiserweight Championship Open Challenge. Kushida was in action, taking on Oni Lorcan. Damn good matchup. Kushida picking up the dub. Escobar and Delgado Fantasma came out. Jumped Kushida afterwards. MSK came out for the save. So that pretty much had set up a good match for next week, which I'll tell you about in a hot second. Everrise took on Fabian Archer and Alexander Wolf. Fabian Wolf picking up the dub. And next week on NXT, Dakota Kai will take on Mercedes Martinez. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed will face Austin Theory. Huge implications in this one here. During NXT, the Way was trying to talk to Indy and try to understand why is she continuing to have this infatuation with Dexter Lumis. Bronson Reed overhears and says to them, love is love, and a bunch of trash talking goes down. And long story short, Reed looks at Gargano. Big Papa John, that's his name, Big Papa John. Now, Big Papa John, God, I hope they don't get sued. But anyway, better ingredients, better pizza, crappy pay, Papa John's. Austin Theory tries to step up on behalf of Big Papa John and say, nah, as far as you trying to get that championship off of Big Papa, it ain't happening. The only way you're going to get a shot at that title is if you beat me, and that ain't happening. So Bronson Reed decides, okay, yeah, you're going to put that challenge out there. We'll see about that. So Gargano was quick to remind Theory, dude, you lost to him last week. Don't you remember? It was a squash match. Theory's like, it's different. You know, I got it this time. I got you. So next week, NXT, Bronson Reed, Theory. Reed wins. He gets a shot at Gargano's title there. Kushida and MSK, they'll be teaming up to take on Legado del Fantasma. So should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to checking out next week. Now, as far as the ratings, so again, NXT for last week, they did 805,000 viewers. Okay, that's pretty good. 18 to 49 demo, they did a 0.23. All right, so that's pretty good. Then this past Tuesday, they did 841,000. So again, I mean, that's pretty good. That's what you want to see. You want to see, some type of growth there. So I like that. That's pretty good. Hey, I got a WoW Women of Wrestling update that I definitely want to share with you guys. I'm not sure how many of you all had heard about this, but this piece of news had dropped last week. Shout out to the Joshi Sun Times, as they had conducted an interview with WoW's own David McClain, who said that the company is hoping to hold tapings and commence distribution of their footage in the fall. Now remember, the last episode of WoW Women of Wrestling to air on Access TV, or just TV in general, you got to rewind it back to, what was it, November of 2019 is pretty much when you got to rewind it back. And they had taped a whole bunch of shows, but sadly that next season never aired because Access TV had canceled them June of 2020. After Ed Nordholm and them through Anthem Entertainment were able to acquire Access TV. Remember, it was still pretty much, as far as like majority owner goes and all that, it was Mark Cuban, and pretty much they bought him out, and as they say, the rest was history. For those of you that were always wondering, yeah, I actually did check out Wild Women of Wrestling here and there. Yeah, what the hell was going on there? Why? So basically, when Ed Nordholm and Anthem Entertainment came in and they acquired Access TV, one of the things that they tried to do was force upon a partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they were also trying to force upon a partnership with Wild Women of Wrestling. And some of that had basically entailed kind of what you're seeing right now with Impact, as far as them being like this glorified indie promotion, this glorified global indie fed, basically, where they're working with all different types of talents and shit. They basically were trying to do something like that in New Japan. Remember how it kind of was for them. They kind of got a little bit burned with some of the stuff that went down with Bucks and Omega and others that decided, nah, we're going to go leave and form our own company. So they're kind of like, nah, we kind of just want to continue to do our own thing. Well, Anthem decided, okay, well, you're going to roll like that. Yeah, you had a contract, that's good for a whole nother year or 2 years. We're just going to tear it up. And, I wonder if that's like, as far as a lawsuit goes, like, I wonder if they even have a leg to stand on, or if their whole thing was just, okay, nah, fuck it, we just won't. And then they pretty much tried to do the same thing with WoW. And David McClain and them, y'all noticed from the interviews that I had did with David McClain, myself and my boy Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Shout out to him. Catch them Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Catch them live on Spreaker. When we were talking with David McClain, he pretty much was telling us that as far as the next season of WoW goes, it's a green light. They already got the episodes in the can, it's ready to go. But he also touched upon the fact that as far as WoW goes, it's just going to remain its own thing. It's just going to keep being what it's being. Why add even more to it? Because, like, I remember Selena Majors, we had asked if you could ever see a position where maybe, some males get incorporated, and she's like, nah. She's like, nah, as long as I'm with WoW, it's always going to be just as it is. Like, otherwise it wouldn't be Women of Wrestling anymore. So Impact was definitely trying to do some things there that David McClain and crew did not feel comfortable with doing, and they pretty much got shown the door. And they pretty much were kind of, when you stop and think about it, I mean, we've been waiting since 2019. Think about that. We've been waiting since 2019 for them to pretty much make some type of an announcement, whether it was, we're going to have episodes on YouTube. Pull MLW or NWA. We're going to do episodes on YouTube until we could get a TV deal. But it never came. I thought for sure something was in the works, But then, of course, when the pandemic hit, now let me continue on because here's something else that's pretty interesting here. Because the interview, as far as like key points, it didn't stop at the commencing of distribution and all that, as far as taping more episodes, possibly in the fall. He also went on to say, David McClain, that is, he also went on to say that it'll depend on California's COVID-19 restrictions, as that while production of WoW content has been on hold due to the pandemic, they're waiting to resume production when California allows for the return of live events. He noted that if more people go out there and get vaccinated, then this means that it'll be more likely that they'll be able to return. He noted that while there are wrestlers he would love to bring back, I would imagine Tessa Blanchard, Teal Piper for sure. Of course, you definitely got to have the Beast because she's your current WoW women's champion, right? I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. But obviously there's a few wrestlers he'd like to have back. Everything will be fluid and depends on timing with the scheduling. The company currently does not have an exact return date, but tapings will happen in Los Angeles. Some of the roster members may be booked elsewhere when the company is allowed to return. So that's pretty much where things are right now with WoW Women of Wrestling, for those of you that have been wondering what's going on with the promotion. And, if you're paying attention to what's happening out there with California, they got it bad. They really got it bad over there. Congrats to Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey announced that her and her husband are expecting, as Ronda Rousey is pregnant. WWE sent out a congrats on their respective social media feeds and on their website. So, nice to hear. So hopefully this will put, at least for now, I know a lot of people, seems like every month, Ronda Rousey is not a show that goes by once a month where at least I'm asked at some point during the show, Ronda Rousey, you think Ronda Rousey is going to be coming back? Like, we got all these cool, like, that's why I told you guys a long time ago. I said, your guess is as good as mine. It's like, let's not focus on whether or not, because then we work ourselves up into a frenzy. We think about all these cool scenarios where, well, what if you did this? What if you did that? Oh, you could have her or him do this, do that. And then we work ourselves up. We get overhyped. And then, perfect example. Look at what was going on there with Brock Lesnar. Look how we all worked ourselves up there almost into a frenzy, thinking Brock Lesnar was going to be returning in time for WrestleMania there. And see how that played out, right? So, I'm happy for Ronda. Remember, this is something that Ronda was very passionate about, something that she had wanted to do and everything. And I would imagine that once the pandemic had came about, I would imagine for them, I wouldn't be surprised if they had said, okay, you know what? Let's try to do the best we can to not conceive a child right now because of what's going on with this pandemic. We just don't know, what the hell's going to be going on and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if because of the pandemic, they decided they wanted to try to, take it a little bit easy and all that until definitively, okay, well, here's the vaccines and et cetera, et cetera. So, it's good. It's good. I can't hate that, at the end of the day, we want for these men and women that, we respect so much that we get to see on our TV, and maybe at some point we paid to see them at a pay-per-view. In this case, whether it was in the ring of the wrestling world or in a MMA ring, at some point, we paid to see them. We got the merchandise and all that, and there's that part of us that it stings a little bit when we see that our favorites aren't going to be coming back in that timely manner that we would like for them to come back, right? But you know what? Life happens sometimes. And, to that, you just got to catch yourself and go, well, not everything is about what's going on in this squared circle, right? You know, there's a bigger picture in everything. And this is something that she's been pretty much passionate about for a couple of years now. You know, was even kind of talking about this even before she got signed with the WWE and everything. I'm sure that, you know, and look, apparently she's not under a WWE contract right now. So, I mean, look, when it's all said and done, I'm sure WWE is definitely looking at this. And I would like to believe that going forward, I mean, look, they can't tell these women, you know, you can't fuck, you can't get pregnant, you know, you ain't got that type of fucking power. No, no, you don't, you can't own a person's body, WWE. Nope, sorry. You know, you can work them to death, but you don't own their body, right? You can have the likeliness and all that other shit, but you don't own their body. So they can do whatever they want to do. But I would definitely like to believe that WWE is probably, you know, probably kind of kicking themselves in the ass and everything, because they probably felt that, man, you know, we kind of got the raw end of the stick there. We should have been able to do a lot more, you know, with this individual. And, you know, yeah, we made some good money and everything, but you feel where I'm coming from? But hopefully certain powers that be in WWE, hopefully they're not looking at this and they aren't being petty, because we've heard some stories in the past, right? We've heard some stories from those that were in WWE about how petty certain management can be. Hopefully, you know, it's just one of those type of deals where the door is still, and I have a feeling it is. I have a feeling, honestly, like 2 cents from a distance, I have a feeling that there's no bitterness. I have a feeling that there's no animosity whatsoever. I would not be surprised if some type of a report was maybe put out there in the coming days, coming weeks, that says something along the lines of WWE is actually ecstatic for her, and that at this point it's verbally been acknowledged. Anytime she wants to come back, the door is open. Whenever she's ready, the door is open, you know. And to those that's going, oh, well, you know, now that she's gonna have a kid, her career's fucking over. Her career's fucking over. Yeah, she's fucking done. Ain't no way she's coming back. Yeah, she's done. Just because a woman has a kid, guys, it doesn't mean that their whole fucking life is over. Jesus, you guys, hello, Serena Williams, you know, mother, hello, and she's still going out there playing at the highest freaking level. Leslie Jones, WNBA, you know, all that shit that she was doing in the WNBA, you know, she's a parent. Things ain't quite work out with her baby daddy, so for a significant period of time, you know, last I checked, she was doing her thing as a single parent. And, you know, she was able to still go out there, play at the highest level fucking possible. So, I mean, oh, you know what? I got my names mixed up. I said Leslie Jones. I'm thinking SNL. Forgive me. Candace Parker. That's actually who I was thinking about. Candace Parker. I did not mean disrespect there. Apologize about that. Candace Parker. She's a cutie too. Don't she got a Beyonce vibe when you look at Candace Parker's face? Like when Beyonce was first starting off. Candace Parker kind of has that look to her. Ronda Rousey's 34. So please don't come at me with that whole, you know, she's gonna have a kid out here. Now she's gonna have a kid. Yeah, she's done. Her career's over. She's retired. Like, just stop and listen to yourself when you hear that, and just how ignorant that sounds. If you've seen anything in the world of pro wrestling by now, it's that at this point, age doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Real talk. And I don't mean that in an insulting way, you know, so please don't take it that way. But really, take a step back and think about it. We just saw Tom Brady going on 43, and I think now he's going on 44. You know, we just saw him play at like the highest level ever that we've seen of a quarterback. After we saw years of, his skills are diminishing, blah, 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 and the motherfucker, not only did he go to a new football team, this motherfucker took the worst team. He literally just was like, any team he could have went to, he just said, I want that team. Give me that shitty team right there. They got some weapons. I can do some stuff with those weapons. Bring in some of my boys from New England and watch us run shop. And not only did he run shop, he took them to the damn Super Bowl and won. Right? So I ain't trying to hear that whole thing about age, because guys like Tom Brady, you look at LeBron, before he had the injury, year 17, still playing at the highest level, MVP candidate, was able to take his team into the NBA Finals, win a championship. You could tell me all you want about, pandemic this, pandemic that. There needs to be an asterisk. Man, same fucking opportunities as all the other teams had when they went into the bubble, from the play-in games on. So don't even give me that, right? Age ain't nothing but a number. It is all about what's going on in your mind. It's all about what's going on with your determination to stay on top of your fitness, to stay on top of your health and all that, your cardio and all that shit. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. You go back and listen to the show I did on Monday talking about that whole bus flip and everything. Mickey James. I've seen enough of her work. She can still go out there at a very high level and entertain you guys. Entertain us all. Right? So I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that. I do believe we'll see Ronda return to the WWE one day. If I were to make a prediction as far as when I think maybe it's going to go down, she's 34. I could honestly see something. Maybe 35 going on 36, or definitely 36. I think maybe that's when she'll return. Most likely. I can see that. Let's see. Other than that, let me see. I think we're just about done. Let me just real quick here see if there's anything else. Nah, we went over that. Let me see here. Yeah, we're pretty much good. That is pretty much a show. Yeah. So at this point, your next edition, what we're going to be doing, Patreon members, I'm going to be sitting down with the missus. We're going to be recording a new free-for-all edition of Wrestling with the Topics. So make sure you tune in to that. Just kind of follow up on what I said earlier. We'll talk a lot more about the Chauvin verdict. We'll definitely react to the latest shooting that went down in Ohio. For those of you that have Facebook, feel free to join in on the conversation. Facebook.com/the RCWR show. I posted a thread about the Ohio shooting, and it's been picking up a lot of traction. There's a lot of back and forth discussions with people over there, so check that out when you guys get a chance. And I will be recording a new episode of Impact Showdown, so be on the lookout for that, because we do have that Rebellion pay-per-view from Impact that's going to be coming up. So as far as talking about Impact's Rebellion, I'm actually going to hold off on that until Friday. I will be back this Friday after SmackDown goes off the air. We'll do a special little recap show talking about SmackDown. We'll also go over that Rebellion card I'll give you my picks for Rebellion Saturday. So tune in for that. That should be solid. If there's also some little tidbits of news, we'll definitely get into it on that show. If you got some questions, some wrestling, non-related wrestling questions, you could definitely post it there. I'll actually even make a thread on YouTube. So head over to youtube.com/the RCWR show. Make sure your notifications is on. And basically, I'm going to make the thread Thursday on my way to work. When you see the thread, just click on it and, post your comment or question rather, that you have, and I'll be able to tackle it on the show that Friday night. Otherwise, you don't have any questions, just you want to just represent Friday, I'm definitely going to be live. All right. And then there is going to be a Impact Rebellion post show. I will be doing a special live edition of Impact Showdown covering Rebellion Fallout. So FYI. And Monday is when we'll have your next edition of the RCWR show. For those of you that maybe aren't going to be joining us this Friday and Saturday, then make sure you tune in Monday, April 26th. That's when you'll get the next episode of the RCWR show. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. That includes Apple Music. It also includes Amazon Music, Audible. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. You can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And that's going to do it for those of you that were able to tune in live. Appreciate the love and the support as always. Those of you that check out the shows on demand and on the downloads, much love as always. I will catch you guys next go round. Adios.